It's a beautiful day for baseball, and live from Busch Stadium in St. Louis, Sportsnet LA presents the Los Angeles Dodgers and the St. Louis Cardinals in the rubber game of this three-game series. Hi again, everybody. Charlie Steiner, Nomar Garciaparra. Oral Hershiser not with us today. He'll rejoin us in Denver. Last night, more than just a win for the Dodgers. Game 2 of this grueling now 34-game, 34-day stretch. They had lost 2 in a row. They had had 4 straight road shutouts that everybody had heard about. They were being no-hit into the 6th inning by Michael Wacha until the Dodgers scored 4, Grandal's big 3-run home run. Winning here at Busch, where the Dodgers' last 2 seasons came to an ignominious end. All this behind Carlos Frias turning in his best performance of the year following his worst.
I mean, the one word that I can describe him is growing, because each and every time he takes the mound, he seems to be growing and getting better and better and making adjustments. He has a very short-term memory. Coming off a tough outing against San Diego where he gave up 10 earned runs, he bounces back, even had a struggle in the first inning against St. Louis, yet he was going to his breaking stuff, he was utilizing all his pitches and kept the hitters off balance.
Finished tonight 7 innings, no earned runs and 5 base hits, but just as importantly, the Dodgers offense finally broke out.
Yeah, and they needed it big time too. And what was impressive to me is that they finally took advantage when they had a good pitcher in Michael Wacha, when they had him on the ropes. They get that early RBI by Howie Kendrick going the other way, and then it was the big hit by Yasmani Grandal. Way to welcome him back in the lineup after being on the DL with a concussion symptom. So good to have him back in there. Hope they can continue.
A rivalry that dates back to 1892, the Cardinals and the Dodgers. We wrap up this 3-game set here in St. Louis. Back with the lineups and first pitch right after this. The Dodge Challenger. With an EPA estimated 30 highway mpg, this car was made for driving in California. Visit Dodge.com today. Well, these two arch rivals, the Dodgers and Cardinals, a series that began back in 1892 when a fellow named Harrison was the president of the United States. This is the rubber game of the three-game series. Our closed captioning is brought to you by Wiener Schnitzel, der Fun since '61. As Don Mattingly's crew, a big win last night, 5-1 over the Cardinals. They regain a piece of the first place in the National League West, a half a game in front of the Giants, who were shut out by the Atlanta Braves. Here's the Honda lineup put together by Don Matting, with Alberto Callaspo making his first start of the year for the Dodgers. Gonzalez and Kendrick and Ethier through the heart. And then there's Yasmani Grandal, who is having the best May of his career. He has knocked in 18 runs this month. Guerrero in left, Rollins at shortstop, Brett Anderson pitching and batting ninth. Anderson in search of his third win of the year, and they're facing the hard-throwing right-hander Carlos Martinez.
Yeah, hard-throwing, Charlie. I mean, he averages around 95 miles an hour with his fastball, but he can get it up there to 98, 99 miles an hour. He's got a good slider and a good changeup to go with it. Swing and miss, but the key is to try to get to him early. So far in his 9 starts this year, teams have scored 5 runs off of him in the first inning. Don't want to get behind on him. Look for your pitch and then attack.
They have scored 6 more in the second inning, so if you're going to get to Martinez, you got to get to him early. Martinez in his last 13 in the third innings, in his last 2 starts, scoreless. His career best is 16 in the third scoreless innings in succession. He came up with the Cardinals in 2013, and coming into this year, he had made 78 appearances and only 8 starts, so now he is indeed a key member of the rotation. The Cardinals, of course, lost Adam Wainwright for the year. In the first 15 games after Wainwright went down, the Cardinals starters were lost. With an ERA of 5.06 in the 18 games since, their ERA is about 2.5. Jock Peterson leads it off, and on the first pitch, he fouls it off to the left. It's 0-1. Peterson is at .256, 12 home runs and 23 runs batted in. Callaspo on deck and Gonzalez to follow. 59 degrees, overcast skies. It feels more like fall than spring. And a ball outside and high. 1 ball, 1 strike. The 23-year-old Martinez deals, and Peterson swings and misses, pulling the string with a slider. It's 1-2. Martinez, like Walker last night, is a fast worker. And the 1-2.
Goes with that off-speed pitch to get him.
Defensively behind Martinez this afternoon. In the outfield, Randall Grichuk is once again in left. Matt Holliday's been sick to his stomach for the past few days. Hayward in right, Borges in center. And then the infield with Pete Kozma starting at second base this afternoon. Colton Wong with the day off, and of course the ever-present Yadier Molina behind the plate. Here's Callaspo making his first start for the Dodgers, and he takes a strike. It's 0-1. Callaspo is the hardest man in baseball to strike out among all active players. Over the course of his career, he strikes out once every 11 or 12 at-bats. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
So obviously he can handle the bat, and obviously he's behind with 2 strikes. But the one thing about Martinez on the hill, he falls off after his follow through. So guys who might think about bunting,
and wouldn't you know it?
Yeah, of course he strikes out. But if you're thinking about laying one down, you'd lay it down to the third base side the way Martinez falls off of that mound. Well, we've already seen 2 off-speed pitches. He gets swing and misses, one off Jock and there off Callaspo, and there's his follow-through as he crosses over.
Martinez on the year has struck out 56 in 53 innings. Up steps Adrian Gonzalez. Fouls it back, and it's 0-1. Adrian, 10 home runs and 35 runs batted in, and at the moment is the leading vote getter among first basemen for the National League All-Star game to be played in July in Cincinnati. 1 ball, 1 strike. The outfield is straight away. The infield has Cosma about 10 steps on the outfield grass. And it's 2-1. That's Grichuk and Borges and Hayward in the outfield. 23-year-old Carlos Martinez, his 10th start, drilled to left center field. That is very well hit. And that is run down in left field by Randall Grichuk, who robbed Gonzalez of a double last night. And wouldn't you know it, first at-bat of the day, Gonzalez is robbed again. Randall Grichuk filling in for Matt Holliday. What a play. As Peter Borges leading off in center field, and Matt Carpenter, who leads the National League in multi-hit games, had a couple of more hits last night at third base. Peralta's at short. Grichuk, who just made that terrific catch, robbing Adrian Gonzalez for the second time in less than 24 hours. Molina behind the plate. Reynolds at first. Hayward in right. Cosma hitting a $119, but Colton Wong's got the day off. Martinez pitching and batting ninth as Brett Anderson, his first pitch of his 10th start, is up high. 1 ball, no strikes.
Well, the key for Brett today, hopefully having command of his, fastball and his breaking ball.
One of the things that Anderson does better than anybody in Major League Baseball, and that is to induce ground balls. Percentage-wise, nobody has induced more ground balls than Brett Anderson. Wouldn't you know it? First batter, he gets it.
Talked about it, Charlie. I mean, that is a high ground ball percentage, nearly 70% there.
109 ground ball outs and only 28 fly ball outs all year. Now Carpenter takes a strike, and it's 0-1.
Well, we know he gets ground balls. For me, he really needs to start bearing down on those left-handed hitters. Now that you have Carpenter up, I mean, they come in batting nearly 350 versus Brett Anderson.
Slaps it foul. It's off to the left. Carpenter last night was 2 for 4, and that was his 22nd multi-hit game. That's the most in the major leagues. Hitting .318. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, we had a 2-hour and 20-minute delay at the start of the game last night, and it rained most of the game. No rain in the forecast today, but it's a very chilly 59 degrees, but Matt Carpenter remains red hot. Defensively behind Anderson today, Alberto Callaspo making his first start at third base for the Dodgers with Rollin and Kendrick up the middle. And Adrian Gonzalez at first base. Guerrero, Peterson, and Ethier in right. Yasmani Grandal is behind the plate. So these two teams, the Cardinals and the Dodgers, the best records in the National League. The Dodgers 10 over 500, a half game in front of San Francisco. The Cardinals 15 over 500 at 32 and 17-6. And there's a fly ball to left field. Guerrero going back, way back, and it is gone. A home run. Johnny Peralta, with his 8th home run of the year, has just given the Cardinals a quick 2-0 lead.
Well, we have a look at where this ball was located. He's looking for it on the inner half, and that went right down the middle of the plate. A big hitter like Johnny Peralta is not going to miss that one, and he hit it a long way.
A center cut. Peralta's 8th home run has 29 runs batted in, and the Cardinals strike first. Randall Grichuk takes a strike, and it's 0-1. Grichuk starting in left today, and he drills one to center field, but there's Peterson. Grichuk getting the start. Matt Holliday again sick to his stomach.
Well, I'll tell you what he's done to Adrian Gonzalez. If I was Adrian, I'd send some medicine over to Matt Holliday, because I don't know if Matt would have made those plays last night and today of Adrian Gonzalez.
Gonzalez robbed of 2 RBIs last night. Spectacular catch by Grichuk in the 7th, and robbed of a double in the first inning here this afternoon. Yadier Molina at 285, 47 base hits, and over the course of his career has enjoyed hitting against the Dodgers. Mark Reynolds on deck. Coming into the game this afternoon, Brett Anderson had not given up a run in the first inning. Down 2 with 2 out here in the first, and it's 1-2. On the other hand, Carlos Martinez coming into the game had given up 5 first inning runs and retired the Dodgers in order. Easy one hopper to short, and Rollins will throw out Yadier Molina. That's that. But a Carpenter single and a Peralta home run has given the Cardinals a 2-0 lead, with Kendrick, Ethier, and Grandal coming up in the second. Eighth home run of the year, now has 29 runs batted in, and has given the Cardinals a 2-0 lead. Brett Anderson grew one through the heart of the plate, and Peralta did with it what he has done so often over the course of his career. Is Howie Kendrick will lead it off for the Dodgers. In the second, he'll be followed by Andre Ethier and Yasmani Grandal. Brett Anderson, the home run he surrendered, but his 4th of the season. So the Dodgers have some work to do. Dodgers were trailing 1-0 after the first last night and 1-0 after the first on Friday night. And on Kendrick's first pitch, he grounds it to second base. Cosmo with the backhand stab. So meanwhile, Carlos Martinez has faced 4 batters. He's gotten ahead of every one of them. Andre Ethier's coming up. And again, as we were talking at the beginning of the broadcast, Nomar, if you're going to get to Martinez, at least based on this season, you get to him in the first inning or two.
Yeah, and you saw Howie all attacking that first pitch because he saw the guys before him. You don't want to get behind on Martinez because he does have that swing and miss put away pitch.
He has struck out now 58 batters in 54 innings. And a strike to Ethier. It's 0-1. Andre with 6 home runs and 19 runs batted in. So all 5 batters have seen a strike on the first pitch as Ethier takes high. 1 ball, 1 strike. With Ethier's next RBI, Andre will pass Matt Kemp and move into sole possession of 5th place for the Dodgers in runs batted in. Steve Garvey, the all-time leader, 992. Eric Karras, 976. Willie Davis, 849. Ron Cey, 842. Kemp and Ethier are at 648. Point of service, no Dodger in uniform longer than Andre Ethier. 10 years now. Of course, he was the subject of all those trade rumors in the offseason. Right now, he's having the best year he's had in 3.
I think we talked about early how he was going to be an integral part of this club, and so far he has been.
Hit only 4 home runs last year, already 6 home runs, 19 runs batted in this season. And he's worked the count full. Next stop for the Dodgers, Denver. Here's the 3-2. Line passed. Carpenter into left field for a base hit. First Dodger base runner, a single to left for Andre Ethier.
That was a really good at bat by Andre Ethier to work the count to 3-2. So now he gets back into that fastball count and he stays with it and goes the other way. One thing about Carlos Martinez, when he's starting to pitch around the 93, 94 miles an hour, he has actually more movement on his ball. When he really gets it up there to 98, it has a tendency to straighten out. But Andre's staying with it. He laid off a couple of breaking balls when he was behind in the count to get that pitch.
Now Yasmani Grandal, this month, hitting .396, 21 for 53, 4 home runs, 18 runs batted in, and a .492 on base percentage. Of course, came back last night after the 7-day disabled list visit with the concussion. Guerrero on deck, and Martinez misses high and away. Guerrero next, and then Jimmy Rollins. 2-run home run in the bottom of the first by Johnny Peralta. Grandal fouls it off. Well, last night the Dodgers burst out of that scoreless streak in a big way. A 3-run home run by Yasmani Grandal. The Dodgers actually were no hit for 5 1/3 until they busted loose with 4 in the 6th and 1 more in the 8th. So Grandal having the best month of his career. Swings and misses. Now 2-2. His 18 runs batted in this month, the most in his career, and that .492 on base percentage we were just talking about. Second in the National League this month, only to Bryce Harper. 2-2 with 1 out. Time called by home plate umpire Marty Foster in his 17th big league season. So here is Martinez, who had only 8 big league starts coming into this year. Ethier has attempted 1 stolen bases, 0 for 1.
And in 171 career innings by Carlos Martinez, throwing to Yadier Molina, only 6 stolen bases. So he doesn't give up a lot of stolen bases either.
Especially with Molina behind the plate. They've got 2 terrific catchers on display today. There's another great catcher in the state of Missouri, Sal Perez of the Royals. Here's a 3-2. There goes Ethier. And a pop-up into short left field. Here's Pritchett. 2 out. Now Alexander Guerrero coming up. 9 home runs and 21 runs batted in. Between Jock Peterson's 12 home runs and Guerrero's 9, that's the most for a pair of teammates, rookie teammates, through May since Albert Pujols in 2001 for Peterson. Orlando Cepeda had 13 home runs in 58. So between the 2 of them, Peterson and Guerrero, you're looking at 21 home runs and 44 runs batted in from a couple of rookies. Two out, Ethier's at first. Nothing and 2. A slider with some bite.
One thing about Carlos Martinez, coming out of his hand, it all looks the same like his fastball. And that one even started off looking like a fastball in the strike zone. And right at the end, the late break to it, both his slider and his changeup had that late break.
Gravity took charge. On 0-2, Guerrero into short right. Hayward is going to run out of room. Kershaw and Kendrick tomorrow in Denver. On Tuesday, have a day-night doubleheader. Greinke will start one of the games for the Dodgers. They have not announced who the other starter will be. And then on Wednesday, Mike Bolsinger and Chad Bettis. After the game Wednesday night, the Dodgers fly home and face the Cardinals for 4 next Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And down goes Guerrero, down go the Dodgers. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left. 2-0 St. Louis as we go to the bottom of the second. Dodgers Kids Cereal Bowl presented by Sports Authority. First 15,000 ticketed kids 14 and under get theirs when the Dodgers host the Cardinals at 5 o'clock. Go to Dodgers.com/promotions. So Brett Anderson down 2 as we go to the second. Mark Reynolds, Jason Hayward, and Pete Kozma will bat. The 2-run home run by Peralta, his 8th, and the 4th given up by Anderson, who gave up his first 2 runs. A liner, 1 hop that ate up Howie Kendrick. It's going to be a leadoff hit for Mark Reynolds. Prior to the game today, a budding star here in St. Louis who died tragically in the offseason, Oscar Taveras, was remembered. Here's Alana to tell us more.
Well, Charlie, Oscar Taveras passed away on October 16th of last year in a tragic car accident in his native land of the Dominican Republic. He and his girlfriend perished in that crash, and there was a tribute to Oscar Taveras earlier today, right before the ball game started. In fact, it was this date last year in which Taveras made his major league debut. It was against the Giants. He was 1 for 3, a home run in his second at-bat. Of course, in the postseason, he had a great time, 429, 3 for 7, home run in 7 games. He batted .295 in the month of September. His mother was here. His father was here on the field as well. One of his brothers and his uncle. Many members of the front office for the Cardinals were here as well, paying tribute to one of their fallen teammates.
Jason Hayward, as a result of the tragic death of Taveras, Cardinals needed a right fielder. And so they traded Shelby Miller to Atlanta for Jason Hayward, who's hitting .250 with 5 home runs, 14 runs batted in. Gonzalez, Rollins, Gonzalez, but safe at first. Hayward beats the throw.
Well, when this ball's hit to you, you know Jason Hayward is going to be getting down the line. So when Adrian makes a play, first of all, make sure it's just a good throw. Make sure to get that lead runner first. And then if the second one, if you're able to get Hayward, you recognize it's a bonus. But he was just too fast getting down the line.
Rollins with the quick return, but Hayward was too fast to first. And here's Pete Kozma coming up. Kozma up and down most of last year. Hitting .119 this year, 5 out of 42. Colton Wong off to a great start. And with the lefty Brett Anderson going today, it was as good a day as any for Wong to get a day off. If you're just joining us, Johnny Peralta, a 2-run home run to left in the first inning, is the difference in the game to this point. Outside. Jason Hayward with the lead, or standing on the bag at first at the moment, is a perfect 5 for 5 in stolen base tries. So Grandal has thrown out 6 of 23. Best beware. Up high.
Well, right now it's falling behind on the 8-hitter. Talked about Brett Anderson inducing so many ground balls. In last night's game, Carlos Frias double plays really helped them out. Guys were getting on base and found himself in a little bit of trouble. He was able to get that ground ball, and the defense behind him was turning some great double plays.
In the 4th, 5th, and 6th innings. 3-0. Kozma takes a strike. Can't be walking a guy who's hitting 119. Anderson getting the sign from Grandal. There goes Hayward, and he is out from here to Joliet. So Anderson with the great move. And the one thing about Adrian Gonzalez, he is never rushed, ever.
Not rushed. Even when the guy goes on the very first move of the left-handed pitcher, he gets himself in a good position so he can make that throw. He gets on the inner half of the baseline so he can make a good throw to second base to get him. But Charlie, you're right. He makes everything look so easy.
Yeah.
And effortless.
Talking about that the other night. Here's a guy who's, at the moment, National League first baseman vote getter from the fans, who just doesn't get the attention he probably deserves. And wouldn't you know it, after all is said and done, Kozma walks anyway. Four-time Gold Glove winner Adrian Gonzalez, second leading hitter in the National League.
That was a big one. After Brett Anderson was able to get to pick off Jason Hayward, then you're going, all right, now if I can just go out there, throw strikes, because it's nice to have the pitcher leading off the next inning.
Martinez takes outside. Martinez on the year is 2 for 19. And over the course of his career, brief that has been, not much of a hitter. So Grandal goes out, has a brief meeting with Brett Anderson. On 2-0. Big rip. For the Dodgers, this is the third game of 34 games in 34 days. Next day off is July 2nd. Here's a 2-1 inside, and it's 3-1. And in the month of June, they're going to be all over the map. Back-to-back walks to the 8th and 9th hitters from Brett Anderson. Honeycutt's going to go and try to settle them down. In the month of June, Colorado, then home with the Cardinals for 4, the Diamondbacks for 3, then down to San Diego, off to Texas for 2, back to Dodger Stadium for 2 with the Rangers. Giants come in. There's a Sunday night game on June the 21st, and right after that they fly to Chicago, which means they'll get in after the sunrise. Play 4 games with the Cubs, 3 with the Marlins, 3 in Arizona, and at long last on the 2nd of July, a much-needed day off.
And after that night game and flying to Chicago, is Chicago nice enough to give them a night game? Because there are always day games there.
No, thankfully, it's a night game. Right. Backhanded by Rollins. Does he have a play at second? Yes. And that will end the inning. Jimmy Rollins, who made a couple of terrific defensive plays last night, robs Borges of a hit. That'll end the inning. Cardinals lead 2-0. We go to the third with Rollins leading off. Brett Anderson and Jock Peterson to follow. Afternoon, but it is 59 degrees and it feels a whole lot more like late October than it does late May. But another packed house at Busch Stadium. They average about 44,000 a night, which is pretty near a sellout every night. Jimmy Rollins will lead it off. They'll be followed by Brett Anderson and Jock Peterson as we make our way to the third inning. Rollins now in the 8th spot in the lineup. As a hitter, especially a veteran hitter like Rollins, placement in the lineup, how does that impact on him, or does it?
I don't think it'll have too much impact on him, because he even mentioned, he goes, listen, I could see this coming. He understands he was struggling, and that you're making it tough on your manager to keep you up at the top of the lineup. And you also tell yourself, the game's going to dictate the type of hitter I'm supposed to be.
With a drag bunt, and nice play by Martinez. Rollins has a base hit if Martinez can't reach it.
Well, we were talking about it earlier. If you're going to square around a bunt, maybe you think about third base instead of the first base side. A lot of lefties, they want to bring that with them. It was a good bunt, but Martinez quick off the mound, and also because we talked about how he falls off there. You got Jimmy hustling out of the box, recognizing, going, man, just an inch more out of the reach of Martinez, and that's a base hit.
Here's Brett Anderson. Has one hit, a double in 12 at-bats. And in his career, the numbers speak for themselves. Big fella from Texas takes under the knees. 1 ball, no strikes. Meanwhile, Carlos Martinez, 32 pitches to get the first 8 batters. And a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. So the young right-hander has been efficient. We mentioned that if you're going to get to him, you get to him early. They've given up 5 first-inning runs this year, 6 more in the second inning. And then he gets really nasty. This is under the knees to Anderson, 2-1. Peterson on deck. 2-2. Just like Michael Wacha last night, Martinez gets the ball back and he's ready to throw. These days, when you can't step out of the batter's box, it's really hard to offset the timing. So the pace of play rule seems to work right into Martinez's wheelhouse, and wouldn't you know it, he walks. Here's a reminder, June the 9th, 7:10, the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks, and be one of the first 40,000 fans in attendance and receive a Jock Peterson t-shirt presented by Edmunds.com. For more information, go to Dodgers.com/promotions. So Anderson works out a walk. Interestingly enough, Brett Anderson, 1 for 12 this year. That was his 5th walk. Peterson struck out in his first at-bat.
Well, you said Brett Anderson's a big fella up there. Maybe he's intimidating up there to the other pitcher.
It's working. You know what's also interesting about the Dodgers, who lead the National League with a .339 on base percentage, but their batting average, .260, ranks 5th as Peterson fouls it off to the left. The Dodgers lead the National League in walks, 176, so they're on base a lot. Mark McGwire, John Valentin, the hitting instructors.
And I think that has a lot to do with Mattingly's
line to left, slicing foul.
Mattingly's responses to when the offense was struggling. You know, go over to the Giants and they get shut out over there. But he's like, I'm not too worried about it because they're giving themselves opportunities. Their guys are getting on. They just weren't capitalizing on that. They didn't put runners in scoring position. That was the struggles. But if you give yourself the opportunity, better chances you are.
Peterson on 1-2. Drilled to right. Hayward going back. He's at the wall and he makes the catch. Well hit. Peterson comes up a couple of feet short. Second out of the inning.
Well, Peterson gets on top of this fastball. Does an excellent job getting on it. I'll tell you, from his reaction, I bet he was thinking, okay, he might have thought he had enough of it to possibly carry out for him, but it stays in the ballpark. And we've seen the outfielders for St. Louis do an excellent job tracking the ball back to the wall.
Alberto Callaspo, a strikeout victim in his first at-bat. Takes high and away, 1 ball and no strikes. Well, when the Dodgers come to St. Louis, it's kind of a homecoming for Mark McGwire, the Dodger hitting coach. And watching his charges finally burst through with 5 runs last night. It's a happy homecoming for Mac, isn't it, Alana?
You guys were just talking about the fact of the walks and the on-base percentage for the Los Angeles Dodgers, and I started talking to Mac about the amount of strikeouts. Coming into the game, the Dodgers had 354. It's 3rd fewest in the National League. I said, hey, does it bother you when these guys punch out? He said it does if they're not drawing the walks as well. He said, I struck out a lot in my career. In fact, 1,596 times, guys. But he also walked a lot, too. He had 1,317 base on balls. He said, if guys are going out of the zone, they're swinging at balls instead of swinging at strikes. They're not putting the ball in play. I do have a problem with the strikeout. If they're walking as well, not so much.
Well, the Dodgers on base percentage at .339 is the highest in the National League. Callaspo on 2-2. His first start with the Dodgers. Slaps it foul down the left field line. McGwire's still a very popular figure in this town. Two balls, 2 strikes, and 2 out. Gonzalez on deck, and Callaspo with a slow roll to short. Peralta picks it up and throws him out. No runs, no hits, a walk and a man left. We'll go to the bottom of the 3rd with Matt Carpenter, Johnny Peralta, and Randall Grichuk coming up. 2-0 Cardinals. Against Brett Anderson, who gave up his first 2 first-inning runs of the year. A 2-run shot for Peralta, who will bat second here in the 3rd. Carpenter, Peralta, and Grichuk. Your sense of what you have seen so far from Brett Anderson?
Right now, he doesn't have quite the command that we've seen in his past games that he had. And obviously, the one where he fell right over the middle of the plate, Peralta makes him pay for it. But even that last inning, the 2 walks to the bottom of the lineup, so really is telling. So maybe in the last inning in the dugout, maybe talking Yasmani. Well, he was on base, so he did get on base, so he didn't have a chance to really talk to Yasmani about what mechanically he may be doing. It's not allowing to have that command.
Starts Carpenter off with a strike. Matt Carpenter now at .322. Outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. And Carpenter has made life miserable for the Dodgers. Into center field, Peterson taking charge. One out in the third. In the first inning, Johnny Peralta was given a gift, and he unwrapped that present with a vengeance. Peralta takes the strike.
Looked like Johnny tried to hit that in the same spot. He hit that.
Here's the 0-1. Johnny now with 8 home runs and 29 runs batted in. And hitting .308. This Cardinal team has 4 of the top 16 hitters in the National League. Peralta being one of them, along with Carpenter, Holiday, and Wong. Pretty much 1 through 8. They're all tough outs. As a team hitting .267, second best in the league as Anderson misses inside, 3-2. They don't hit a lot of home runs. The Dodgers have hit 63. The Cardinals have hit only 39. Third walk given up by Brett Anderson. Coming into the game, Anderson had walked only 11 batters in 49 innings. And this afternoon he has walked 3 in 2 1/3. Randall Grichuk has been a thief in the night and day, robbing Adrian Gonzalez with 2 outs of a double and 2 RBIs last night. And in the first at bat for Gonzalez this afternoon, more of the same. Adrian leads the National League, tied for the league lead in doubles, and he was robbed of 2 in 24 hours.
And Adrian's going, if he hits that ball to me, I am making the play. I am smothering that ball. I'm doing anything I can.
Grichuk flied to center in his first at bat and takes a strike. 0-2. Yadier Molina is on deck. 2 runs, 3 hits for the Cardinals. No runs and a hit for the Dodgers. Grichuk slices it foul to the right. Dodgers with the win last night ended the Cardinals' 5-game winning streak, 5-game home winning streak as well. But the Redbirds 2-0 here in the bottom of the third as Anderson misses way outside and high, 1-2. Braves and Giants in about an hour or so at AT&T Park. In the dirt, Mike Wilchinski, the first base umpire, with the reprieve for Randall Grichuk. Right on the borderline.
Yeah, that was. I was like, that was close.
On 2-2. With the emergence of Grichuk, the former Angel, the Cardinals have quite a crowd in the outfield. Holiday, John Jay just back off the disabled list. Hayward. And now the way Grichuk explains it, hey, what about me? Here's the 2-2. High and away, 3-2.
You're right. I mean, they have Borges out there today in center field. And it seems like the guys they have out there right now, Borges, Grichuk, and Hayward, they can track it down.
And here comes the 7th pitch of the at-bat to Grichuk. And there'll be an 8th. So this is a very deep club, this St. Louis Cardinal ball club. 15 games over 500. A 6-game lead over both the Cubs and the Pirates. 19-6 at home. and 2 games over 500 on the road. On 3 and 2, Peralta has 1 stolen base this year, back standing up easily. Anderson's 46th pitch. And Grichuk wins the battle. He's had a great series, Randall Grichuk. Fourth hit of the day for the Cardinals. First and second, 1 out.
Well, he kept fouling off some good pitches by Anderson, and even this one was on the inner half. It wasn't right down the middle of the plate, and he was able to bring his hands in nicely and barrel that ball up and pull it. So he fouls off pitches, tough pitches, and then gets one he can handle.
Yadier Molina's coming up. Bounced to short in his first at bat. 1 for 3 last night. And 1 for 4 on Friday night. 1 ball, no strikes.
We talked about Frias last night when he had guys in scoring position or got in a little trouble. He was able to get that double play. Right now, Brett Anderson could use the same.
And a ground ball pitcher. This is what he's looking for. And a call strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Percentage wise, Brett Anderson induces more ground ball outs than anybody. He could use a ground ball and a double play here. That fooled Molina. 1 and 2.
This one is a hitter that you're going, okay, I see it. Looked like it was going to hang, and now it's breaking, and you just can't pull the trigger.
On 1 and 2, Molina to right. Right at Ethier. Now there may be a play back at first base, and there is a double play. Brett Anderson was looking for a double play, but he sure as heck didn't think it was going to happen that way. Grichuk was off and running. Ethier Johnny on the spot makes the catch and a perfect 1-hop throw to Adrian Gonzalez. Brett Anderson, first base, first base. Yeah. To Gonzalez. Gonzalez has to be smiling at least a little bit because Grichuk robbed him not only once but twice. Once last night and once this afternoon, Alana.
Well, of course, we just saw the battle between Grichuk and Brett Anderson. Grichuk winning that battle. Well, Adrian Gonzalez won the battle last night when he was facing Michael Wacha. You guys remember it ended a bit painfully as he was ended up getting hit by the pitch, but it was a 12-pitch at bat. Of course, it was a full count. He gets hit by the pitch and gets the base, and then Howie Kendrick was able to drive in Justin Turner, and of course, Yasmani Grandal with the 3-run home run. But Mark McGwire told me earlier today when he was watching that at bat from Gonzalez in the dugout, he said it absolutely was the best at bat he's had so far in 2015, and maybe it will be for the rest of the year, guys.
Foul back to the screen. 1 ball and 1 strike to Gonzalez.
I mean, it was a great at bat. I mean, he was just fouling off pitch after pitch, and they were tough pitches. They were, put away pitches for Michael Wacha, and he stayed alive and ended up getting hit by a pitch.
On the 12th pitch, got it right in the back.
Toward the end there in that inning, he was really driving up his pitch count. Michael Wacha. If that may have had an impact on Grandal getting one over the middle of the plate and hitting it out for a home run.
Wacha last night took a no-hitter into the 6th as Gonzalez fouls it off. Turner would double, then that 12-pitch at bat Alana was alluding to. Kendrick then single to right, and then Grandal with the home run. So fatigue was beginning to set in on Wacha, and the Dodgers took advantage. And this time, a foul ball, and what does Gonzalez have to do to get a double?
That one you're thinking like, wow, here I was able to fight that one off. He didn't square it up, didn't barrel it up, got it in on his hand just a little bit. It jammed him just a little bit, but you're thinking, is that going to find it?
1-2 to Adrian Gonzalez with 10 home runs and 35 runs batted in. He fouls it off to the left and out of play. Gonzalez is tied with Derek Norris and Matt Carpenter with 17 doubles to lead the National League. Kendrick on deck and Ethier to follow. Martinez deals under the knees. Adrian at 329. To second base, Cosma has to wait for it to come to him in short right.
Well, the reason he waits for this one is because he's worried about that lip of the grass. You're going, okay, if I go charge this, now I'm going to have to deal with that, and I might get a weird hop. So if I just sit back and wait, then I can play, maybe get at least 2 hops on the grass before I field it.
And he also knows that Adrian has many qualities. Speed ain't one of them.
You definitely knew you had some time.
Yeah. Howie Kendrick with 1 out. Slices it foul.
Well, we say that and we kid, but David Vassay found out that he does have wheels when he tried to race him that one day.
We also found out that David doesn't have any. 0-2. Kendrick had a big night last night. He was 2 for 3, scored 2, and made some terrific defensive plays. Here's the 1-2. He fouls it off to the right and out of play. Andre Ethier is on deck. Meanwhile, the 23-year-old Carlos Martinez cruising right along. This is but his 60th pitch. Outside, 2-2. Kendrick at 295, 4 home runs, 19 runs batted in. Slices that one foul. Kendrick has had a very steady, efficient first couple of months with the Dodgers. Been flirting with 300 all year. And an easy chopper to second base. There's Cosmo. Andre Ethier joining some exclusive company with the Dodgers as we have a look at the Coors Light Cold Hard Facts. Garvey, of course, has the most RBIs of anybody. Then Eric Karros, Willie Davis, Ron Say, and Ethier is tied with Matt Kemp. So one more, and Ethier will leap past his old buddy. Andre with a base hit to left field in his first at-bat, lifting his average to .310. Still no precise timetable for the return of Yasiel Puig. It sure is going to be hard to supplant Ethier in right. But Crawford, of course, is still sidelined with the oblique. So it's conceivable if and when Puig returns to the lineup, Ethier might move from right to left. But those are the options now that Mattingly has.
Yeah. And also the versatility, shows the versatility of Andre Ethier and how that could help your manager.
To shortstop, Peralta has a nice room service hop. That ends the inning. Nothing across for the Dodgers. They've been held to 1 hit through 4. We go to the bottom of the 4th. Cardinals 2-0. Get to Nissan's ride of your life for exciting performance and surprising offers. Shop ChooseNissan.com. And by DraftKings. Play daily fantasy baseball for free on DraftKings.com. Use promo code BLUECREW for free entry. Mark Reynolds, Jason Hayward, and Pete Kozma will bat for the Cardinals against Brett Anderson as we go to the bottom half of the 4th. A 2-run home run by Johnny Peralta in the first, the only runs of the game. Reynolds a single to left in his first at-bat. Anderson uncharacteristically has walked 3 today, hasn't struck out anybody. Reynolds takes a strike, 0-1. So Reynolds, the first baseman for the time being in St. Louis, with Matt Adams gone most likely for the year. No balls and 2 strikes. When asked about what they're going to do about first base, Matheny was saying the other day, we got Mark Reynolds just in case something happened to Matt Adams, and just in case something did happen. The problem that Reynolds has had over the years, he strikes out too much. 105 at-bats this year. He has been fanned 37 times. 4 different years he's led the league in strikeouts. He can hit them out. He can get punched out.
Yeah, he's an all or nothing swinger at the plate. I mean, I tell you, his swing does not change when there's 2 strikes on him. 0-2, man on third, less than 2, nothing. It's the same big swing.
And he says he won't, because this is what got him here, and it's also what gets him out of places too. But when he gets hot, he can hit him in bunches and a long way. Jason Hayward on deck, Kozma to follow. To third. Callaspo. One gone in the fourth. Alberto Callaspo making his first start with the Dodgers. He started quite a bit in Atlanta. But there are those who will say about Callaspo, his strength is not starting, but his ability to play all over the place sporadically. And that he will be doing for the foreseeable future as Jason Hayward bounced out in his first at-bat. Takes under the D's, 1 ball, no strikes. They're getting a little heat here in St. Louis for the deal that sent Shelby Miller to Atlanta, who's having an all-star caliber season for the Braves. Now those thumbs are going to hurt as bad as that bat has been broken. And on a day like this,
on a cold, chilly day, it's sawed off. Your hands are still stinging right now. I mean, that's, you get a new bat, you're going to put the pine tar on it, but you're also kind of taking your time just to get the feeling back.
Your thumbs feel like a tuning fork. 2-2. Cosma on deck, up and in, 3-2. Hayward at 249, 5 home runs, 14 runs batted in. He's built like a power hitter, and he's basically a singles and doubles hitter. He fouls it into the dirt. In Atlanta, they never knew quite where to hit him in the lineup. Occasionally they'd lead him off. Sometimes he'd be in the middle of the lineup.
Well, I also think it's the lack of consistency coming from him. Not just the fact, if you're just consistently a singles double hitter and you've got high average and you're getting on, okay, we can find somewhere. But yeah, it's singles and doubles, but then there are times he goes through spurts too where he's hot and he's cold and they're like, all right, we don't know where to put him. And we see where this pitch, good breaking ball. Even that ball, he gets away with it. Brett Anderson gets away with this pitch. This is a hanging breaking ball. You saw Yasmani set up on the outer half. That's where he wanted that breaking ball. But Hayward just froze and couldn't pull the trigger on that. But sure, when Brett Anderson goes back, he's glad he didn't swing at that one.
Cosmo walked in his first at-bat and takes a strike. How do you get to 119? 5 for 42. Colton Wong with the day off today against the lefty Brett Anderson. 0-2. Anderson, really, except for the mistake, the 2-run home run to Peralta in the first inning, has been solid. Inside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Anderson in 5 May starts, an ERA of 2.12, but has gotten a grand total of 8 runs of support to work with.
Still searching for that put-away pitch right now. And once again, you got the 8-hitter where you have an opportunity to put him away so you can get that pitcher to lead off.
He walked Cosma the first time up and now works the count full. And Martinez, not much of a hitter either. He would walk in his last at-bat. Call, strike 3. That ends the inning. Cosma doesn't like the call. Marty Foster, the home plate umpire. So it will be Grandal, Guerrero, and Rollins coming up for the Dodgers as Cosma takes call, strike 3. Cardinals with a 2-0 lead. As Monty Grandal, Alex Guerrero, and Jimmy Rollins will bat against Carlos Martinez. Threw 4 innings, but 66 pitches, 44 for strikes, 3 strikeouts and a walk. Grandal flied to left at his first at bat. Foul tip, strike 1. The Cardinals, when they lost Adam Wainwright for the year with the Achilles, their rotation struggled at first 15 games after he went down. The starters had an ERA of over 5, but in the 18 games since, the rotation has settled back into an ERA of about 2.5. And Martinez, now in his last 17 innings, has not given up a run. Grandal, Guerrero, and Rollins to bat. And there's Cosmo a couple of steps to his right. Be one of the first 40,000 fans in attendance on June the 4th and receive a Kenley Jansen bobblehead presented by State Farm. For more information, go to Dodgers.com/promotions. And on the 4th of June, this Thursday night, the Cardinals are in town, the first of a 4-game series. Guerrero struck out swinging in his first at bat. Dodgers have had 2 base runners to this point, a 1-out single for Ethier in the second, and Brett Anderson would walk in the third. So the offense has been held in check to this point by Martinez, who delivers a strike, and it's 0-2. Down on strikes for a second time, Guerrero. It's the 4th strikeout of the game for Martinez. There's 2 out and nobody on.
I'll tell you, for Alex Guerrero, he's a first pitch swinger. Loves to attack it, and that opposing, Yadier Molina knows that, Carlos Martinez knows that. So he started off with the breaking ball, just like they did the last at bat, swing and a miss, and then he throws him a nasty fastball that catches a corner, and that's just what's set up for that last pitch to get him swinging.
Now Jimmy Rollins with 2 out and nobody on. Takes a strike. Rollins, a drag bunt attempt in his first at bat. And Martinez has been ahead of the hitters all day. 0-2. 75 pitches, 50 for strikes. Missing just outside, 1-2. So all of these Cardinal pitchers, they get the ball back and they're ready to fire again. Rolled to first. Reynolds with the underhanded flip to Martinez. 8 in a row retired by Carlos Martinez halfway through after 4.5. Redbirds 2-0. hit through the first 5 innings. Carlos Martinez has faced 17 hitters. 13 were faced with first pitch strikes. But he's been ahead of the hitters, and he's really had them off balance all day. And here is Martinez leading off and taking a strike, 0-1. And he's just 23. Borges on deck and Carpenter to follow. Dodgers are off to Denver immediately after the game. And the Milwaukee Brewers come in here for 3 beginning tomorrow night. The Brewers at 16-34 trail the Cardinals by 16.5.
So they're going to try to make some ground up when they come in.
They better. 2-2 to Carlos Martinez. Has 2 hits all year. Worked out a walk in his first at bat. Anderson's 75th pitch. Strike 3. Martinez knew it. That's 3 strikeouts in a row for Brett Anderson. And now the top of the order with Peter Borges. Borges starting in center field today. Grichuk in left, Hayward in right. Matt Holliday again under the weather. Cardinals are thrilled with the deal that they made with the Angels to get both Borges and Randall Grichuk. David Freese went over to Anaheim. That gave Matt Carpenter a chance to play third base every day, and Colton Wong into the lineup. And both those guys are both hitting around 320. Here's Colton Wong, a day off. Wong is at 311 on his off day. Amazing. Remember when he was picked off in the World Series?
Yes.
To his credit, A, he faced the music immediately after the game. B, came back the next season and was fine. And this year he's really rounded into form as one of the game's great young second basemen.
I think this year he's playing the way there was a lot, got a lot of publicity, a lot of hype about how good he was down in the minor leagues, and they're saying this guy's going to be a player.
Borges with a 1-out single to left.
He comes back with that breaking ball. He'd got him chasing that breaking ball for trying to bunt it, and he bunts through it on the pitch before. And now he was trying again to see if he can get him to swing over it. Still gets that ground ball, but this one just happens to find the hole.
Now Matt Carpenter. Who is the only left-handed hitter ever to have 3 hits in a game against Clayton Kershaw last June at Dodger Stadium. He's been a doubles machine. Tied with Adrian Gonzalez with 17 doubles this year. In 2013 had 55 doubles, 33 last year. The 55 doubles in 2013 led the major leagues. And it doesn't matter to him if he's hitting against a left-handed pitcher or right. 1 ball, 2 strikes, and 1 out in the bottom half of the 5th. Borges can run. Anderson is aware of that.
Base stealers like to steal. After you come over off a lefty, they'll try to go first move right after you throw over.
There he goes. And there he goes. Second time today that Brett Anderson has picked off a runner. Hayward back in the 2nd inning, and here Borges in the 5th.
Well, that's worthy of a Carl's Can replay. First move going. Once again, Adrian getting inside. Good throw. Just like they got Hayward.
So if you know that after a lefty throws over to first base, that the runner is going to go on the next pitch, doesn't Borges know?
I'm telling you, that's usually in your head as you're out there. You're going, okay, he came over, he tried, he's not going to come over twice. So
he's not going to do it again.
Right, now's my time to go over. That's what you're thinking as a base stealer. Not all pitchers do it though. And you know what? It's funny. Pitchers, you're saying, don't pitchers know that? No, they'll pitch and you get that stolen base.
Carpenter now 3-2 with 2 out. So the second time today that Anderson picks off a runner caught stealing. Hayward in the 2nd. Now Borges here in the 5th, and on 3-2, pop to the left. Callaspo will run out of room about 10 rows back. Johnny Peralta's done the only significant damage today against Anderson. A home run in the first 2-run shot is on deck. Carpenter hitting .320. It just went down a notch. So that's the 4th strikeout of the game for Brett Anderson, who seems to be heating up as the afternoon is cooling off. We'll go to the 6th. St. Louis. Nissan's ride of your life for exciting performance and surprising offers. Shop ChooseNissan.com. And by DraftKings. Play daily fantasy baseball for free on DraftKings.com. Use promo code BLUECREW for free entry. Brett Anderson 0-1 as we begin the top of the 6th. He swings and misses, and it's 0-2. 1 hit for the Dodgers, a 1-out single for Ethier in the 2nd. And 1 base runner since then, Brett Anderson, who walked in the 3rd, Not going to happen here in the 6th. Well, coming into this series, say, uh-oh, no Kershaw, no Greinke. Well, Bolsinger was terrific on Friday night. Frias even better last night. And you can't pin the rap on Brett Anderson so far this afternoon. One thing about Anderson this month, he has received a total of 8 runs of support to work with. So the big 2 are getting ready for Denver. The little 3 have held up their end of the bargain here in St. Louis.
Well, I'll tell you, Tom Mattingly touched on it a little bit. Yes, talking about Frias' performance yesterday. He said he kept us in the ball game, even when they got that 1 run in the first inning. He went out there and kept battling. And right now, we're seeing the same thing from Brett Anderson.
What was fascinating about Frias last night, coming off his second worst big league performance in his previous start. Then he gives up an unearned run in the first inning. Big crowd, bad weather, 2.5 hour delay before the first pitch. And he was great. He didn't let any of that stuff faze him at all.
You know, it doesn't surprise me, just because when you talk to him, when you're around him, and we've seen him in his interviews, like, he's really just focused about growing and understanding the process, but he also acts like, okay, hey, listen, I wasn't good, or I was good today, I had it, I'm still learning. It's just one of those where he's really able to turn the page.
Peterson takes a walk, and Carlos Frias has been a joy to be around, Alana.
He's very excited because he got an early gift for his mother. Today is Mother's Day in the Dominican, so the ball that he got when he laid down that bunt is going to his mom. But about yesterday's outing, he said he really put his trust in Yasmani Grandal behind the plate. He said, I also have a very short memory, much like a closer would have, guys, not remembering the previous outing. And I talked to Rick Honeycutt about the outing. He said his fastball command was tremendous and the slider was much improved.
Here's Callaspo, 0 for 2. Taking outside, 1 ball, no strikes. The way things have gone for the Dodgers this afternoon, the 1-out walk to Peterson constitutes a rally.
Yeah. Now, got to get something going, see if they're able to get to Carlos Martinez, just like they were able to get to Waka over there in the 6th inning.
Martinez now at 86 pitches. Through 5 last night, Waka was at 84. But then the Dodgers got to him in the 6th. They scored 4 and won 5-1. Callaspo, a big pinch hit last night. Takes high and away, 2-0. Callaspo with a pinch hit in the 8th inning. Drove in his first run with the Dodgers. 9th on the year. There's a strike, 2-1. Gonzalez on deck. Grichuk in left and Borges in center, both very shallow for Callaspo. Hayward straight away in right. Jock Peterson faking it first. Peterson has only 2 stolen bases all year. Just the mere presence of Yadier Molina cuts down the potential running game. Yadier, Jose, Benji, throwing Molinas. Well, that's not going to win any favors from Marty Foster.
No, there are times when you have that right there, you see him talking to him because you're going, all right, that's off the plate. Pitch track shows that it was off the plate, but you go back, you almost like apologize. Hey, sorry, I thought that was really off, and
I wasn't
just catch you. Yeah, exactly.
Really?
Yeah.
No, really?
Yeah.
There goes Peterson and a grounder foul. No, really.
Yeah. Or you can take it the other extreme, like, that was awful. That was a ball, and you called it a strike. What were you looking at? Now you really put me in the hole. And
umpires don't remember those things, do they?
Oh, no.
Marty Foster calling balls and strikes today. We'll see what kind of a sense of humor he has from now till the end of the game. Peterson almost leaning the wrong way.
He's letting you know he's probably going to go with a 3-2 count with a guy who's very difficult to strike out at the plate.
Again leaning, and again very close.
The reason he's leaning is because Carlos Martinez buckles the knee first. The front knee buckles before he throws over, and that's usually your key if you're trying to get if you're stealing or trying to get a good jump. So that's why he's frozen over there. It's a balk. He's balking with that front knee before he throws over.
Now he's nope. 3 steps and he stopped. Now on a full count with 1 out, close game, either go or not go.
Well, yeah, I wonder if he just felt like, oh, I didn't get a good jump, and if he misses, I'm going to be out, so he stopped and stuff. But you should really go. You're counting on him making contact.
Now he's going. Pitch is low and inside, ball 4. So the Dodgers now have something going. First and second with 1 out. Back-to-back walks, and Adrian Gonzalez coming up, and pitching coach Derek Lilliquist is coming out. Talk with Martinez. Cardinal bullpen. A couple of fellas loosening up a little bit, but nobody has thrown a pitch yet. Everybody but Mark Reynolds on the mound, listening to Lilliquist. Memo to Adrian Gonzalez.
Don't hit it to left field.
Don't hit it to the guy in left. Robbed of an extra base hit in the first inning and robbed of a 2-run double by Grichuk last night in the 7th.
That's probably what your pitching coach came out to tell you. He's like, listen, just let him hit it to left field. We'll be fine.
They have been so far. Dodgers have been held to 1 hit. Gonzalez 10 home runs, 35 runs batted in. Peterson leads from second, Callaspo from first. High and away, 1 ball, no strike, so they go away from Gonzalez. Randy Choate. He's been around forever. Now it's 2 balls and no strikes.
That's where you really fight yourself as a hitter. You come in and okay, we finally got a guy in scoring position. You want to be the guy to finally knock that run in, so you really are keyholing and controlling that emotion and make sure you get the right pitch. And so far, Adrian Gonzalez has done that.
382 with runners in scoring position this year. There's a strike, 2-1.
Even though you're heading to count 2-0, he was looking for a ball in the inner half, something that he can really drive, possibly not only knock in 1 run, but possibly both runs. And that ball was on the outer half, so he took it.
Kendrick on deck. Back-to-back walks with 1 out here in the 6th. Tying runs are aboard. Two and 2. That had some mustard on it at 94.
That's one of those balls that it almost like it just kept it stayed up and was just at the top of the strike zone. It's so hard to get on top of with that velocity.
2 and 2. Down goes Gonzalez, the 6th strikeout of the game for Martinez. Now it'll be up to Howie Kendrick.
I mean, as a hitter, Adrian Gonzalez, you're mad at yourself at the pitch before. Whether you're going, man, that was too high, I should have taken that. Or I'm mad at myself, I didn't make contact with that ball. and then Carlos Martinez able to come up with a great pitch that looks like that fastball and take something off and to get a swing and a miss.
Kendrick rolls it foul. Howie's bounced the second twice today, hitting .293 and hitting .368 with runners in scoring position. 4 home runs, 19 runs batted in. Peterson at second, the only runner in scoring position for the Dodgers all day.
He's mad at himself for swinging at that one at that high pitch. He's talking to himself as well. He's done a good, his first at bat, he hit a hard ball to the second baseman going the other way. And now he finds himself, you have that put away pitch by Martinez.
Peterson and Callaspo lead from second and first. Martinez bears down. He walks 2, strikes out 3. The Dodgers leave 2. And after 5.5, the Cardinals 2 and the Dodgers nothing.
Number is retired here at Busch Stadium, one of the beloved players here for the Cardinals. And every Dodger fan unfondly remembers his home run in the 1985 NLCS Game 5, of course, the walk-off shot by Ozzie Smith. But he has L.A. roots, guys. Played at Locke High School in Los Angeles, the Hall of Famer did. He was joined by another Hall of Famer, that, of course, being Eddie Murray, who also played baseball at Locke High School. And the two of them, the two Hall of Famers, recently got together and were able to do a dedication at Locke High School for baseball and softball complex there. Pretty neat to see those two guys get back together to their LA roots. Of course, Dodger fans certainly remember the 1985 NLCS home run, but nice story to get those two guys back together.
Go crazy, folks. Go crazy.
How about that high school? 2 Hall of Famers on that.
2 Hall of Famers,
wow.
2 switch hitters. How'd they ever lose?
Why? I mean, you're telling your pitcher, hey, just let them hit a ground ball. Ozzie will get it.
Yeah. And Eddie will hit it out.
Yeah. Wow.
What was fascinating when Ozzie first came up with San Diego, of course, he was a great fielder from day one, couldn't hit much. Then he was traded here to St. Louis for Gary Templeton. And then all of a sudden his offensive skills really exploded. Of course, it was Gary Templeton who had one of those great quotes as to whether or not he was going to report for the All-Star game. He said, Gary, if I ain't starting, I ain't departing.
I wonder if his offense started taking off a little bit, playing on that turf.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be turf here, and now really just pounding it on that ground, maybe with his swing, putting on contact and finding the holes.
Peralta on 3-2. Takes a call, strike 3. Brett Anderson now has struck out 4 of the last 5 batters. First out of the 6th. the Wizard.
Wow. You were talking about him hitting Jordan. Do we have to show that one? But just, I can watch highlights of him fielding balls all the time. Just what he could do with the glove.
What was it? Of course, you played the position as well as anybody in your generation. What was it about him that set Ozzie apart from everybody else?
You know, just his, I mean, one, you saw the acrobatic plays he can make, the athleticism that he showed. But the hands, they were just so quick, and it looked like, you know, him and Omar Vizquel, they look like they don't get bad hops. Like they were never in between. It's like, wait a minute, I played on that field that seems to have holes everywhere.
Oh, look at the backhanded stab by Callaspo. Robbing Grichuk, 2 out.
Well, right now, I think Adrian Gonzalez is going to go give Callaspo a high five for robbing Grichuk over there as we look at the Morongo slow-mo cam. Fine play by Callaspo. Getting him, watch the way he makes the play, then turns around, gathers himself in his feet, knowing that, okay, it was hit sharply, and makes a good throw.
Yadier Molina with 2 out, fouls it back. And remembering Ozzie play 35 years ago now, the thing that he never seemed to be had the strongest arm, but he didn't need to have the arm because he was able to compensate with his quickness. Callaspo throws out Molina, who will get there eventually. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left. Want to pick up on your thoughts about Ozzie. One of the greats. Callaspo with a great play. Ethier, Grandal, Guerrero coming up in the 7th. Juan Uribe bidding farewell to the team. Plus, join us as comedian George Lopez plays ball boy for a day. Don't miss Backstage Dodgers on Thursday at 5:30, only here on Sportsnet LA. Some blue sprinkled in amongst a lot of red. A sea of red here in St. Louis. Dodgers have been held to 1 hit so far by 23-year-old Carlos Martinez. The only hit, Andre Ethier, a 1-out single in the 2nd inning. He is leading off here in the 7th. 2-0 St. Louis. Ethier takes low, 1 ball and no strikes. Dodgers had what passes for a rally today. Back-to-back walks with 1 out in the 6th. And then Martinez got serious. Struck out Gonzalez and Kendrick to end the threat. Slowly hit to short. And Peralta throws out Ethier. So Peralta manning the shortstop spot that was manned so famously. His jersey retired. Ozzie Smith. And we're talking about what made him so unique defensively. And again, it wasn't that he had a Sean Dunston or a Nomar Garciaparra type throwing arm, but he had enough when he needed it.
Oh, his hands were so quick. He got rid of the ball so quick, so he didn't have to have the arm.
Grandal lines one to left, and there's Pritchard. Boy, Grandal's been hitting the ball right on the screen.
He has. But going back to Ozzie, he had the arm when he realized I don't have to show it off all the time. I have quick enough hands. I have quick enough feet that can allow me just to get the ball there and get the out. And it was so amazing to watch because he had so much range. He can just make the unbelievable play. Got to everything.
With 2 out, Guerrero swings and misses.
And I think in contrast, where one of my favorite shortstops growing up, I loved watching Jay Bell. Who was almost the opposite. He just made everything around him. Wasn't flashy. There wasn't anything.
I was going to say there was nothing flashy about Jay Bell, but fundamentally sound.
Unbelievable. Made everything. Made all the plays. Went about even offensively. He got the job done. And then you have the wizard over there just making plays that you were just a highlight reel every single day.
Guerrero would rather not see Martinez again anytime soon. A 7-pitch inning, and Guerrero's down on strikes for the 3rd time today. 7th inning stretch in the afternoon to this point belongs to 23-year-old Carlos Martinez. In 2015 with MLB.com At Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment at any time with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and more. Get MLB.com At Bat for your smartphone or tablet. Brett Anderson's day is done, and he was terrific. Do not pin the rap on him this day. 6 innings, 2 runs, and 5 hits. Struck out 5, walked 3. Surrendered a 2-run home run to Johnny Peralta in the first, and after that, he was terrific. He would strike out 4 of the last 6 hitters he would retire. So here's Chris Hatcher on in relief, and he'll be facing Mark Reynolds. Then Jason Hayward and Pete Kozma. And at least the way Carlos Martinez was greeted in the dugout, perhaps it's the end of the line for him. Reynolds' first pitch is a fly ball to right center field. Ethier calling off Peterson. You never know who's going to be watching a game, Omar.
No, say that because I get a text from Daryl Thomas, and he's telling me, he says, you know, we called Ozzie just in time because he had enough arm to get anyone just in time. That's beautiful. And that is so true.
And Carlos Martinez, I assume that handshake means it's over. Either way, 108 pitches for 7. Dodgers had all but 1 hit against him. Just in time. That's Kevin Segras, a hard-throwing lefty. Pitched on Friday night. And Hayward drops a line drive into left field with 1 out. Oh, Kike Hernandez has taken over in left field. So that would suggest a double switch, and Hernandez would bat second in the 8th. And now here's Colton Wong, who's had the afternoon off until this point. And with the lefty Brett Anderson out of the game and Hatcher in, Wong is going to pinch hit for Pete Kozma. Dodger bullpen collectively has the 2nd lowest ERA in the National League. The lowest belongs to the Cardinals. Dodger ERA out of the pen is 2.53. The Cardinal bullpen ERA is 2.18. And the Redbirds with a 2-0 lead here in the bottom of the 7th. An ominous number when the Cardinals lead after 7 this year. They're 25-0. Oh, and you got Segras coming out of there, and Jordan Walden before he went on the shelf, and Trevor Rosenthal finishing up.
Don't send that number down to the dugout. Don't let them know that.
I think they're keenly aware. They don't need numbers. They don't need no stinking numbers to know that.
They just know who's coming in. They see the arms over there.
Wong at 311, 6 home runs, 23 runs batted in. Post play at first. Hayward already picked off caught stealing once today. Chris Hatcher's 23rd appearance, 17 strikeouts and 5 walks. John Jay in the on-deck circle. Martinez brilliant today. 1 hit, 8 strikeouts, 3 walks. Oh, 0-2 to Colton Wong. Second base, Kendrick, Rollins, double played, and getting Colton Wong, the speedster, is no easy feat. No runs and 1 hit. So the veterans, Kendrick, Rollins, and at the receiving end, Gonzalez. It'll be Rollins, Hernandez, and Peterson to bat for the Dodgers as we head to the 8th. Baseball on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by your Southern California Toyota dealers. Save big on any 2015 Camry now at the Toyota Time Sales event. Dodgers have 6 outs left to work with, and it's not going to get any easier for them. As Carlos Martinez, no runs and 1 hit in 7 innings. Kevin Segrist, his 24th appearance, and he has been terrific. He has struck out 26, walked 10, opposing hitters hitting .224 against him, and even harder throwing Trevor Rosenthal will pitch the 9th. Jimmy Rollins 0 for 2 today. Tried to drag a bunt in his first at-bat and bounced to first in his second. Batting from the right side is Rollins. Jimmy on the year at .203, but .265 as a right-handed hitter. No balls and 2 strikes. Hernandez on deck. Peterson to follow. If anybody gets aboard, Callaspo. When they asked Rollins the other day about being demoted in the lineup from 2nd to 8th, he said, I've been thinking about it myself. Here's the 0-2. Call strike 3, and he knew it. So how did we get this far? Time to take a look at the DraftKings game summary. Johnny Peralta, 2-run home run in the first after a Carpenter single to center. Carlos Martinez was just lights out today. 8 strikeouts, 3 walks. Well, the Dodgers scored 4 runs last night in the 6th and 1 in the 8th, and back to all too familiar ways today. Last year, the Dodgers were struck out or shut out 5 times. They have already been shut out 5 times this year as Hernandez swings and misses. 0-2. Kike Hernandez at .243 with Peterson on deck.
Just coming right at guys. Throwing that fastball. Good changeup. Just like, okay, I'm going to go on the outer half. That one came over the middle of the plate. He missed his spots, but with that velocity and movements, to still get a swing and miss. You know, Charlie, I was thinking back in that 6th inning, you were talking about Carlos Martinez. That was an impressive 6th inning when you got guy finally in scoring position. You have the heart of the Dodger lineup, and he's able to strike out Adrian Gonzalez and then Howie Kendrick. He really stepped it up right there.
Getting that little extra.
Yeah.
It was a lot extra. That one's well hit to right center field off the bat of Peterson. It is way back, and it is gone. A home run for Jock Peterson. His 13th home run of the year. The Dodgers are on the board. They're back to within 1. A solid shot to right center for Peterson, his 24th RBI of the year. It is now a 2-1 game.
I think Jock had a pretty good idea that he got this one. I mean, he makes contact. He carries his bat pretty much with him halfway down the line before he tosses it, but he gets on top. He actually had a very similar one over there in the 3rd inning where he got one on top, high fastball. It just didn't, it stayed in the park and got caught in right field.
That's the 2nd home run of the year given up by Segrist. As Callaspo fouls it back, it's 0-1. Jock Peterson, his 13th home run. And for Peterson, that home run, the first of his career off against a left-handed pitcher. The switch hitting Callaspo on 1-1. Fouls it away. 13 home runs for Jock Peterson. Is the third most ever for a National League rookie through May. Pujols, you may remember him here in St. Louis, hit 16 in 2001. And the baby bull Orlando Cepeda hit 13 in 1958. First year for the Giants in San Francisco. Of course, Cepeda would have his greatest years here in St. Louis. Peterson, Ellis, Greinke. The 2-2 to Callaspo. Ball strike 3. That'll end the inning. Jock Peterson, his 13th home run of his rookie year. Got it all. Dodgers back to within 1. They've got 3 outs left to figure out a way to come up with a runner more. California Kia dealers. Visit mysocalkia.com to learn more. Jock Peterson gets the Dodgers back to within 1 as we go to the bottom of the 8th, and Chris Hatcher about to pitch his second inning of relief. Peterson, his 13th home run, and now 24 runs batted in. John Jay pinch hitting, and he foul tips it. It's 0-1. Jay just off the disabled list, pinch hit on Friday night. Won a 13 pitch at bat with a single to left. He's had wrist issues. Hatcher on 0-1 with Borges on deck. Jay behind, 0-2. In one-run games this year, the Cardinals are 9-8 and the Dodgers are 6-8. J.P. Howell is warming up in the pen alongside Yimi Garcia. Hernandez, Peterson, and Ethier in the outfield. P.K. Hernandez is exceptionally shallow. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Hatcher faced the minimum 3 batters in the 7th. A 1-out single for Hayward, but an inning-ending double play off the bat of pinch hitter Colton Wong. 2-2. Jay has adjusted his mechanics at the plate over the past year.
And the key, the big difference is him laying the bat on his shoulder. He always used to have a lot of movement with his hands just prior to the pitch.
He didn't just have a hitch, he had a hitch squared.
And with that hitch, he had to be perfect every single time. Not much room for error.
So Hatcher loses Jay in a leadoff walk in the bottom of the 8th. And now Peter Borges. What does Matheny do here in a 1-run game? He's got Trevor Rosenthal ready for the 9th. Does he sacrifice Jay, who runs very well, with Borges, and then Carpenter and Peralta next? Callaspo's in on the grass at 3rd. He squares to bunt in the air and caught by Gonzalez.
When he doesn't get on top, he just kind of drops the barrel to it, and that's why it ends up going in the air. And it was a good job by Adrian Gonzalez charging this ball and making the play.
Well, that's 1 out. And here's Carpenter, who's 1 for 3. 318 with 8 home runs, 27 runs batted in. And there's the hard throwing right-hander, Trevor Rosenthal. No one will ever accuse Matt Carpenter of not working exceptionally hard. Occasionally he works himself to the point of exhaustion. They sat him down for 3 games the other day. He was just worn out.
He's one of those guys who's first to the field, last one to leave, always working in the weight room. I'll tell you, that hard work has paid off. He's quite a player.
Came up with the Cardinals in 2012. Hit 294 his first year, 318 his second year, 272 last season, and now at 318. And led the majors in doubles in 2013 with 55. A 13th round pick in 2009. Came up as a second baseman and seamlessly moved over to third. Hatcher delivers a strike. It's 3-1. In the top of the 9th, Adrian Gonzalez, Howie Kendrick, and Andre Ethier will bat. If anybody gets on board, Grandal, as Trevor Rosenthal continues to warm in the Cardinal bullpen. Hatcher walks 2 here in the 8th. Peralta coming up. And this may be the end of the line for Hatcher, as Don Mattingly goes to first base umpire Marty Foster to let him know of a double switch. Callaspo coming out of the game. Justin Turner will take over. So 2 on, 1 out, bottom of the 8th. Dodgers trail by 1, 2-1. Coming right back. Yimi Garcia's coming right in. Of the year. ERA of an even 3, and opponents are hitting 169 against him, and he's got a 5-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio, which is what he would like to employ along about here against Johnny Peralta. Peralta, the difference in the game, a 2-run home run in the first. He's also walked and struck out. So the Cardinals with a threat here in the bottom of the 8th. The Dodgers back in the 6th inning received back-to-back walks from Carlos Martinez. But then Martinez reared back and struck out Gonzalez and Kendrick. And now the couple of free passes. Jay at second, Carpenter at first. Here is Peralta. Carlos Martinez was nothing short of great today. No runs and a hit, 8 strikeouts and 3 walks in 7 innings. The only real blemish on the stat sheet of Yimi Garcia is that he has given up 3 home runs. In 21 innings, but he's also struck out 35. Big rip.
You know, Yimi's going to come right after you. He likes his fastball. He knows, over the middle of the plate, batter's going to catch up to it. But we've seen Yimi come in and put on a display from a release standpoint and just hit the corners with every pitch, his fastball and even his breaking stuff.
His first dozen or so appearances, he was just unhittable, as is. 35 strikeouts in 21 innings. Sliced to right and foul.
Glad that one's fouled off, because when Yimi went to throw that ball, Howie Kendrick actually asked for see if he can get a pick over there at second base. And Yimi noticed it, but he was already pitching to home plate, and that could throw you off as a pitcher just a little bit. Got away with that.
A ball and 2 strikes and 1 out in the bottom of the 8th. Pitching to the glove and missing just outside and low.
Here's what I was talking about. Watch Howie over there, and also the hesitation by Yimi. That was just his regular windup for the hesitation. But right here, he's set, and Howie breaks, but he's committed.
2-2. Peralta into short right. This could be trouble, and it drops behind Kendrick in front of Ethier, and in to score is Jay, and the Cardinals take a 3-1 lead. So the walks by Hatcher hurt the Dodgers.
Just a blooper over there in no man's land. You had Ethier playing not really deep, but deep, because Peralta has some power. And he's able to get it in between him and Howie Kendrick. Good job by John Jay over at second base, reading that, recognizing that that ball was going to fall, and he scores easily.
Only Jay, Kendrick, and Ethier knew it was going to fall. Carpenter at second base now. So Peralta's knocked in all 3 Cardinal runs today. That's Carpenter at second, and Peralta's at first, and Randall Grichuk 1 for 3 and robbed of a hit by Callaspo in his last at-bat. Justin Turner over third base now. Dodgers have been trying to sprint up a sand dune all afternoon. They get to within 1 and give it right back in the bottom of the 8th. 3-1 St. Louis. One and 2 to Randall Grichuk. Yadier Molina on deck. Giants hitting in the bottom of the second, leading Atlanta 2-0 at AT&T Park. 1-2. So down goes Grichuk. Second out of the inning, and here's Yadier Molina. Again, Gonzalez, Kendrick, and Ethier to bat in the 9th. Molina swings and misses. He's 0 for 3 today. Yadier Molina 280. Garcia trying to suture the wound here in the 8th. Quickly getting ahead, 0-2.
When I watch Yimi Garcia, and you see the velocity of his pitches, 92, 93. But he's one of those that had that late life to fastball. He's one of the guys that when as a hitter, it goes, oh, 92, 93. It looks 96, 97. It just looks so much harder than what the gun is showing.
You almost get the sense he's never thrown a pitch straight. That one banged into left field. Here's going to be a throw to the plate, and out at the plate. Carpenter gunned down by Kike Hernandez, and that will end the inning. So the Dodgers limit the damage. Kike Hernandez with his first outfield assist. And on 2 hops, Carpenter is DOA. Gonzalez, Kendrick, and Ethier coming up in the 9th. great closers in the game. 45 saves last year. And he's made good on 14 out of 15 tries this year with an ERA of about 3/4 of a run. And opponents are hitting just 179 against him. The Dodgers faced him on Friday night and didn't like what they saw. He was perfect in the ninth. He'll be facing Adrian Gonzalez, Howie Kendrick, and Andre Ethier. Gonzalez 0 for 3 today, and for the second time in as many games robbed of an extra base hit by Randall Grichuk out and left. Two walks and a blue pit, and the Cardinals have a 2-run cushion to play with here in the ninth. So here is Gonzalez beginning the ninth, taking low, 1 ball and no strikes. Rosenthal starts him off with a 96-mile-an-hour fastball to get up faster than that. So history of the season suggests that the Dodgers are in a mighty deep hole. Cardinals, when leading after 7. 25-0, and even better after 8. Gonzalez with a fly ball to short left, and here is Grichuk. If Adrian Gonzalez never sees Randall Grichuk again, it'll still be too soon.
Just another one. This is your hitter. You're like, okay, I know I mishit it, but that's going foul. That's going to get away.
He's not going to reach it.
Right. And then again, here's Grichuk making the play.
Kendrick takes a strike.
I mean, Adrian just, I mean, all you can do is shake your head and just go, really?
Robbed of a couple of doubles in this series by Grichuk. Kendrick 0 for 3 today. Fouls it off to the right. It's 0-2. Ethier on deck. Andre has one of the 2 Dodger hits today. The other a home run by Jock Peterson that got the Dodgers to within 2-1 in the top of the 8th. But the Cardinals score 1 in the bottom of the 8th. 2 walks by Hatcher and a bloop single by Johnny Peralta. Kendrick at .292 with 4 home runs and 19 runs batted in. To the right side. Oh, look at Colton Wong. Robbing Kendrick, 2 out. Boy, he's some player.
I mean, Howie Kendrick doing a good job. He did it earlier. He hit a hard ground ball to the second baseman when Cosmo was out there. And he comes back again late in the innings, and Colton Wong just makes a dazzling play to get him out.
Dodgers now down to their final out. Ethier takes high and away, 1 ball and no strikes. If Ethier gets on, Grandal would be the tying run at the plate. Grandal a 3-run home run last night. Andre 1 for 3, takes high and outside, 2-0, 97. Lee's Summit, Missouri is where Trevor Rosenthal is from. Now it's 3-0 to Ethier. They're swung over to the right side, but not a full-fledged shift on Ethier in the infield. The outfield straight away. Andre taking all the way, 3-1. Two out. Count is full at 3-2. Three balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, top of the 9th. Ethier takes high and away, ball 4, and the Dodgers live to see another hitter. And here's Yasmani Grandal, 0 for 3 today. Last at bat, he lined one to left field right on the button.
Charlie, during that half inning, you and I were talking about how big that run was for the Cardinals. It's just a different game that with 2 runs down in the 9th compared to just that 1 run. One swing changes it.
Especially with a closer like Rosenthal.
Yeah.
Grandal is the tying run at the plate. And he takes a strike. Last night, Grandal goes the other way. A 3-run blast for Yasmani. His 5th home run of the year. That was last night. This afternoon now, it's 1 ball, 1 strike, and 2 out. Ethier at first. Grandal takes low and outside, 2-1. And now there's going to be a meeting on the mound with Colton Wong and Yadier Molina and Trevor Rosenthal. This great rivalry that dates back to 1892. Back when the Dodgers were the bridegrooms, and the Superbans, the Trolley Dodgers, the Dodgers of Brooklyn and Los Angeles. They played over 2,050 games against one another. And they've got 4 more at Dodger Stadium Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of the coming week. Strike on the outside corner, 2-2 to Yasmani Grandal.
Oh, big pitch right here. Yasmani didn't like it. We're going to have another look here to see if it does catch the corner. That's off the plate right there.
Justin Turner is on deck. 2-2 to Grandal. We'll do it again. Everybody standing inside Busch Stadium. On 2-2. Just outside and low, 3-2.
This is good. You got Ethier will get a running start.
In the dirt, ball 4. And so now the tying runs are aboard. Justin Turner is the potential lead run. Back-to-back walks after 2 out. How big a play was Colton Wong robbing Kendrick of a hit?
I mean, just in this inning alone, or the last half inning with that run by Peralta knocking in, Cardinals getting that RBI, getting that run in, and then the play by Colton. We've had 2 big plays so far.
Austin Barnes is now going to pinch run for Yasmani Grandal. So if there is a bottom of the ninth, Barnes will catch. Justin Turner has done well against right-handed pitching. There's Barnes, the rookie, just called up the other day. And Justin Turner at .306, 5 home runs, 19 runs batted in. A clutch hitter throughout his career. Swings and misses, and it's 0-1. Turner, runners in scoring position this year, .385. Hit .340 last year. Ethier at second. Barnes at first. Turner takes high and in, 1-1. .123 years worth of rivalry. And here we are in the ninth, 3-1 Cardinals. Strike on the outside corner. Turner doesn't like that call either. Looking at Marty Foster to say, are you kidding?
Because Marty didn't like his. That one's just a hair off as well. That one was really close.
1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 out, 2 on, 9th inning. Dodgers trail by 2. Rosenthal to Turner. That's the ball game, and now Turner is really upset. Game is over. Turner giving Marty Foster what for, and the Dodgers better separate him from Foster. The other 3 umpires, Patillo, Winters, and Mulchinski, are separating Turner from Marty Foster. Game is over. Cardinals beat the Dodgers 3-1. 3 runs, 8 hits, no errors. They left 5. The Dodgers 1-2-0 and left 4. Carlos Martinez, a Lexus player of the game, simply too much today. In 7 innings, no runs and a hit, struck out 8 and walked 3. Cardinals improved to 33-17. The Dodgers fall to 29-20. So that's a wrap from Busch Stadium in St. Louis. For Alana Rizzo and Nomar Garcia-Parra, Charlie Steiner saying good night and goodbye. Next stop is Denver. But now we send it back to Access Sportsnet Dodgers, brought to you by Nissan. Talk to you tomorrow.